This is Chapter 3, Lesson 1 on Ancient Egypt and Nubia. The lifeline of the Nile is what we're going to be talking about and how this river was so important to people who lived in Egypt. Before you started this video, you should have written down these 4 vocabulary words in your packet along with the definition. Egypt is in the northeastern part of Africa, so you can see it right along here. As you can see, it is very close to Mesopotamia, which is right around here, which is what we just studied in Chapter 2. This is where they believe the very first people came from, is in East Africa. Here is a more zoomed in satellite view of Egypt, and you can see the Nile River as it flows north into a delta out into the ocean. What is a lifeline? That's what we're going to be talking about during this video and how this river could have been so important to Egyptians. So the Nile River. The Nile River begins in East Africa and flows northward into Egypt. It is the longest river in the world. It extends more than 4,000 miles in length. As you can tell from this map, you can see how it flows northward, and then you're going to see lots of cataracts, which are waterfalls along the way. The Nile River brought water to an area surrounded by deserts. It helped agriculture thrive for about 5 miles on each side, including a crop used to make paper. So the Nile River was surrounded by desert, and so the people really needed this river to grow crops, and then they were able to use papyrus, a plant, to make paper. The Nile is known as the giver of life and the taker of life, which means that it gave lots of things to the Egyptians, lots of good things, but it also took things from them. And we're going to make a list here in just a moment. So one of the good things that the Nile did was it was used to transport goods. So people could put small boats on the river and they could sail and transport things. However, the 6 cataracts or waterfalls on the Nile made it impossible to sail directly through the entire river. So here's our chart we're going to make. On this side, you can see that the Nile is the giver of life. These are all the positive things that the Nile brought. And on this side, Nile is the taker of life, so all the negative things that the Nile did. So first we have water for crops. The Nile helped, obviously, with irrigation in this desert area. Also, it provided drinking water for the people and transportation. The Nile was a taker of life. What happened is it would flood every year, and sometimes this flooding would destroy crops and also could cause death among people there. So if you look at this picture here, you can see back here is the Nile River, and then you can see that they were able to create all this irrigation system to allow all their plants to have water. This is a picture of the annual flooding every year on the Nile, so you can see all the water going onto the plants, no longer in the river, and then you can see right here people are standing there, just how big this flooding is. So papyrus is a plant right here, and they used to make it into paper that they could write their hieroglyphics on. The last thing we're going to talk about is that the Egyptians were like many people in Mesopotamia. They were polytheistic and believed in many gods. They had multiple gods. We're going to talk about these ones right here. In this corner, we have Ra, who is the Egyptian sun god, and he has kind of this eagle bird-like face. And so they had a bunch of different gods. All the gods had different abilities, and they prayed for them on different things. Now it is time for you to read Chapter 3, Lesson 1, and complete the Lesson 1 review.